Welcome back, you guys. Today I'm going to be counting down my top 5 legendary cards. Now I am lucky enough to have all the legendary cards thanks to a little bit of gemmings. So in my experience and opinion, here's my top picks for the top 5 legendary cards. If you agree or have your own list, share it in the comments below, and please understand that everyone may have a different opinion, and just because yours is different does not mean it is right. So with that, let's get into it. Alright, so kicking it off in number 5, we have the Lava Hound. Now the Lava Hound is the only tank in the sky, and there's limited amount of troops that can actually target air, which makes it that much more viable. It also pairs really well with other troops to make for huge unstoppable pushes, and that's why the Lava Loon decks in the meta right now are so popular and prominent. Not to mention, unlike the Golem has a death damage. Sadly, the Lava Hound does not have that, but instead it will split into kind of like a light minion horde, and if that is on the tower, it can be quite deadly. Paired with other troops that are tanking or a miner or something like that, it can be quite dangerous. So, Lava Hound in number 5. And in the number 4 spot, we have the Miner. Now the Miner is the only mini tank that can be placed anywhere on the map. That comes in super useful and can fit into just about any deck. It can pretty much turn your troops that have almost no health left into a threat by just having the Miner tank for them. For example, if your minions are zapped, you can throw in a Miner, and it makes it very dangerous to deal with and can fully take out a tower. Or Musketeers that are fireballed, or any other troop that's been damaged and the opponent may not want to deal with. You can just throw in the Miner to tank, and then it becomes a full push almost. Also, the Miner can also stand as a standalone win condition. As you may already know, the Miner poison decks, or before they had the Miner rocket chip cycle deck, all those type of decks revolve around the Miner. So the Miner alone can be a stand-alone win condition. My favorite part for using the Miner, other than as a mini tank to tank for troops that have almost died, is to take out pumps. You can take out pumps for a huge positive Electro trade, trading 3 for 6, if you use it correctly or if they don't counter it properly. Sometimes I'll have a zap or a log ready to take out their counter troops, or I will mix up the Miner position. Alright, so coming in at number 3, we have the Graveyard. Now the Graveyard is one of the more recent legendary cards to come out, and it is a very popular and powerful one. So like the Miner, it can be played anywhere and out of nowhere, sometimes catching opponents by surprise. If the opponent doesn't have the right cards to counter it, it can be super devastating, and paired with other spells like Poison or even Freeze, it can make for a deadly combo. Plus, very few troops can cleanly take out a Graveyard, and if you mix in a Poison spell or another spell, there are 1 or 2 cards that can cleanly take out a Graveyard, making it a very difficult card to counter. A less common method of using it, you can also distract troops for almost 10 seconds on defense if you're just trying to hold off on your tower for that amount of time. There's also many different decks and combos to use with it. For example, you can just have a cheap mini tank plus a Graveyard, or you can do a huge beatdown push, or you can even just do a Graveyard freeze. That makes it one of the best legendary cards in the game at number 3. Alright, in the number 2 spot we have the Electro Whiz. Now the E-Whiz starts off with the zap mechanic, which is pretty much a free zap on its spawn, and that's super great against swarm decks as it's pretty much just another spell in your deck to deal with these swarms. Also, it has a reset mechanic where each shot will reset the attack. That's super useful against Inferno Towers, Sparky, and Inferno Drag. It can be super useful on pushes against Inferno Towers if the opponent doesn't know how to play against it or distract the E-Whiz in time. And like the Ice Wizard, it also slows down troops coming towards your tower with a stun mechanic. It makes the progress towards the tower much slower, and while your tower, other troops, and E-Whiz do damage to the troops coming towards you. My favorite way to use the E-Whiz is E-Whiz plus Skellies. The single 1 Electro Skeletons can fully take out a Hog without getting a swing on your tower. So that's my favorite way to use it. And also it has a double shot where it'll split its attack and hit and stun 2 troops at once. So that's really useful for slowing the progress towards your tower. And it can also cause troops and buildings to retarget onto your other troops. So if you get it to retarget onto a tank, that's the perfect and ideal situation. So coming in at the number 1 spot is the Log. Now this is by far the most used spell and probably card in the game, and that is all for a reason. So at only 2 elixir, it can take out almost any small troop, and it can be the death of swarm decks, as it goes and knocks back troops for a long tile range, and can hit all the way from the bridge to the tower. It's also the reason that the Princess is no longer the most popular legendary card in the game, and it also can knock back any troop, big or small, and cause them to retarget. So you can knock back a Royal Giant and place a building, and it'll retarget onto it. And like I said before, it can take out troops at the bridge and clip the tower for damage, all for 2 elixir. There's a reason it's the most popular card in the game at the moment. Now, as a honorable mention, the reason the Princess didn't make the top 5 is simply because the log is too prominent right now, and it's used in almost every deck. And right now it's mostly only used to bait logs for log bait decks or swarm decks, and usually only gets one shot off before being taken out by either a miner, other troops, or a log. So that's the reason the Princess didn't make the top 5 in this deck, or in this countdown. And also the Night Witch, which still hasn't come out yet, but by the looks of her right now, I would place her in the 5th spot, bumping the Lava Hound out, just because I think she will be a viable card to use and a great support card that can work on defense and translate into a strong counter push. Anyways, that's it for this countdown. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to comment down below and let me know, and also leave a like on the video. Also, like I mentioned before, I want to hear what your top 5 list would be, and also let me know what top 5 I should do next. Anyways, that's it from me. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.